I shakeleti love. This love when I wanna get another one, I go take and do waiting I love, waiting you love, oh. No be waiting I love, oh. Waiting I love, I go do what with all my heart, oh. Go no be vodka. Mr. Money changer, but when I know the ways that Mr. I want to the year with people they love. Once again I shakeleti love. This love when I wanna get another one, I go take and do waiting I love, waiting you love, oh. No be waiting I love, oh. Waiting I love, I go do what with all my heart, oh. Go no be vodka. Mr. Money changer, but when I know the ways that Mr. I want to the year with people they love. Once again I shakeleti love. This love when I wanna get another one, I go take and do waiting I love, waiting you love, oh. No be waiting I love, oh. Waiting I love, I go do what with all my heart, oh. Go no be vodka. Mr. Money changer, but when I know the ways that Mr. I want to the year with people they love.
See oh no, yeah. Oh no, loving you, girl, no get holiday. I do one more day every day. I need no one like I need you. Oh no, yeah. Loving you, girl, you get the pom pom. Say you gon' know how I want the pom pom. Say oh, I need no one like I need you. Oh no, oh somebody down and come my lover. Oh nah, and make a day to you while with my love, and I say oh my blessing, baby come on, go sing, no be bad sing, go sing, no be bad sing, go sing, alhamdulillah, and maybe like sing, go sing, baby come on, go sing, baby come on, go sing, baby come on, go sing, bring out the dirty part of me, she bringing out that on my clean bed, do you see the irony? Shit is so funny, lady, oh my God. She feeling all nice, so she gon' die. She fainting, oh yeah, come online. She misses my eye, cause when I walk in, yeah. Oh, I said somebody down and come my lover. Oh, nah, make a day to you while with my lover. Oh, I said somebody down and come my lover. Oh no, make a day to you again. That's cause 90, baby, yeah. And I say, oh, for my blessing, baby, come on, go sing, no be bad sing, go sing, and no be bad sing, alhamdulillah, and baby, let's sing, go sing, baby, come on, go sing, and baby, come on, oh, and baby, come on, go sing, alhamdulillah, and go for my blessing, baby, come on, go sing, no be bad sing, no be bad sing, alhamdulillah, baby, let's sing, go sing.
My name is Oliver.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Hit Africa TV. Once again, today, Thursday evening, and warm welcome to every single one of you from this part of West London. We are actually based here in London, and we're bringing our broadcast to you this evening from this part of West London. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending which part of the world you are. My name is Fiifi Asante-Mparey, and I'll be your host for tonight's show. Please, when you do come on board, don't forget to share. Do us the favor by sharing, by tagging, and let's spread the news. There has been so many political scenes, political issues across Ghana. There's been so many. So tonight we're going to touch on few of such issues that we've got. We've got the Volta River spillage, which is now causing a lot of havoc, and is actually at the moment, there are so many people in the Volta region, part of, I believe, part of the OT coming down, that downstream of the Volta River, who are homeless because of the spillage of this, which personally, in my view, which has been carelessly done by the VRA, which is the Volta River authorities, and the minister in charge and the government. We will touch on this, and we will also seek for some of the permanent solutions. We will talk about a few of them. Another important thing that I want to talk about tonight, which my video is been playing up, but I believe my producer is looking into it because we want to bring you a video to support everything that we say here. Is to do with the new book of Fiifi Mills, ex-president of Ghana. Fiifi Mills of blessed memories. Let me add that to it. And the book is entitled, It's All About Atta Mills. Very, very, very great book, very important book. And there were some revelations which have been made by three important NDC, I would say NDC personnel, when they went to TV3 to launch that book to the public. And I want us to also hear them, and also have a proper listening, and also debate about some of the things or some of the revelation that came along, talk about it actually, and then see whether it was a good decision, bad decision. These are some of the things that sometimes we need to allow ourselves to be able to debate on and decide the direction of our country, Ghana. So thank you once again and welcome. I will start off with the Volta River. Ooh, I'm lost. Okay, I'm back on. Thank you. I might have pressed something accidentally and it took me out totally, but I'm back on now. Thank you. I will start off with the Volta River Authority spillage, which has been an issue in Ghana. It's been the most discussed and most exhausted topic as we speak in Ghana. I'm not sure, producer, if you do have any videos on that, if you could just play us a video on what is happening after the spillage, during the spillage, and after the spillage. And then we can also talk about some of the remedies, because we definitely need a permanent remedy with regards to this. So the Volta River Authority, as we are aware, is been for some time now. They seem to open the gates of the dam when they think that the water levels are so high and it might cause damage to the dam. And last year, I believe last year or 2 years ago, this was done. And this has been done this year as well, a few days back. Personally, I did not see anything or any news. There was no pre-announcement whatsoever. Overnight, we all woke up to it and we were told that the floodgates of the dam has been opened, which is the spillage that they do. We saw video circulating about this spillage. And it was really worrying. What what baffles me is there was a particular video that we had some of the workers or the engineers of the Volta River standing where the floodgates are open and adoring how beautiful, how clean the water is, and how beautiful it was going down, forgetting that as the water is also coming out, it was also going to cause havoc. It's not their fault. They were just admiring it. But at the same time, I thought I should speak about that particular video. This is going to be, or this is going to be a normal occurrence from the look of things. Why? Because according to VRA, we have issues in Hamatan whereby the water levels go down and we require water into the dam. And having said that, when we go through rainy seasons as well, which this year it's been raining a lot in Ghana, so I believe in the same, it's been raining a lot in Burkina Faso, coming down into northern Ghana and the entire Ghana. So the dam is taking in gallons and gallons or millions of gallons of waters. And they think that, look, they should be open this for some of the water to escape in order not to damage the dam. But as a country, have we thought about how to go around these things? Because this is an issue that we have as a country. The problem is that it's going to live with us because of climate change. We're going to, when weathers are, or for instance, in Europe, when it is winter, it's going to be very harsh winter. When it is summer, it's going to be very, very harsh summer. Hence, they are preparing. Unlike Ghana, when it's rainy season, it's going to be very, very harsh rainy season. And when it's a dry season, it's going to be very harsh dry season. So during dry season, we are not going to have waters at all. But during rainy season as well, we're going to have abundance of waters, more than what we require as a nation. We also saw the flood in Accra, the flood in Tema and other places. And the question I ask is, do we plan to fail, or we fail to plan as a country, Ghana? Do we plan to fail, or we fail to plan? Because we've known for some years that this is going to be with us. We've been confronted with this problem, and hence we need to tackle those problems head on. Having said that, not much has been done about it. Not much at all is being done about it. There was a similar issues back in the days in London. Those of you who know London, you know that London is divided by the River Thames. The River Thames cut across London into two. Those of you who have done tours, boat tours in London, when you do a boat tour, you will see that by the banks of the River Thames.
Well, gate normal lifting is on. This is day one. Oh, no problem.
I don't forget to move.
I don't know.
The guy is there, you.
Thank you, producer. So it's, some of us we have seen this over and over and over again, but you could see how the waters are gushing out from the gates of the dam when it was open downstream to cause and displace people and cause havoc, really. I was making a statement that back in the days, London used to experience a similar issue. The Thames used to, don't forget, the Thames goes all the way and joins the sea from the Kent part of the sea, which is the southern England, which is the Kent part of the sea. So the sea, that when the River Thames takes in a lot of water, it used to flood London. And back in the days when technology wasn't there, they used to have something called the lions are drinking water, and as soon as the lions are drinking water, because what they meant was they drew lions across the banks of River Thames. So as soon as the level goes all the way high up to where these lions were, or the sculpture of the lions were at the Thames, the lions have been, or the sculptures were designed in the way that their mouths were open, and as soon as water begin to gush through those sculptures, the lion sculptures, they will say that the lions are drinking water. In other words, London is flooding. So the term "the lions are drinking water" back then means London is flooding, or London is about to flood, because the water level in the Thames were so high up. Hence, the lions have started drinking water. So people, that was their kind of a sign or alarm to let people who live by the Thames begin to prepare whether to evacuate, or whether to evacuate or begin to move their things to a far better or safe place. Good evening to you, Eno Adomasa. I hope you well. So these went on over the years until they realized that it's not workable. Hence, they looked out for a technology and they brought in what is called the Thames barrier. With time, I will let the producer, if you could look for a picture of the Thames barrier and put it out here for viewers to have a look. When they brought in the Thames barrier, the Thames barrier was a technology that was designed at the Thames, it's called the Thames Estuary, in the Kent part of the Thames, in between the sea and River Thames. And what the Thames barrier did was amazing technology. It can regulate the river south or north. That was what or I would say, yeah, it was, I know, I'll use the word east and west rather, because of where it moves. So the Thames barrier could regulate the river Thames, either inflow to west or outflow to east, which was amazing technology. So anybody who has stood by the River Thames can vouch with me that there are times that you will see the river moving towards the west. You will see the whole river moving towards the west. And anytime the river moved, you will see the movement of a river towards the west, which means the Thames is filling up. Why? Because they've opened the Thames barrier to allow the sea water into the river a lot more. So you will see that the river is very high up. Very high up. And then there are times during the day that you see the river moving to the east, which means they are dragging the river towards the sea. And this Thames barrier has been in existence for God knows how long. I will say ever since technology allowed the bridge to be able to put this in. And that regulates the river to avoid land and flooding. Why am I giving this example? I'm giving this example because we all know technology is out there, that the government can begin to think about this kind of technology to solve the problems of the Volta region or the part of the Volta region that get flooded year in and year out when the spillage happens. If we have money for so many unnecessary things, then we can have money for such technology. Thank you, producer. So what we've seen on our screen here is the photograph of the Thames barrier. This is the technology that the British have used to regulate the River Thames so it doesn't flood London. So these are built across the river at the Thames extreme of River Thames towards Kent, which they call the area even Thames barrier, because that is where these barriers are set. And you could see right from those barriers, you could see high-rise buildings. And these are all designed in a way that the Thames doesn't flood London. So the technology is there. So this is what actually directs the river to either move towards the east or towards the west. I don't know how it's done, but it's doable because they've done it. So we can begin to have a look at some of this technology. And then as a country, yes, I understand people will say, oh, it's not cost effective. But what is cost effective? Are we going to pay insurances to these people every year? Is that rather cost effective? Are we going to pay for damaged properties? Are we going to pay possibly loss of life as government every year to people? It's just impossible. So these are some of the things that personally I believe the government have to begin to look into. The technology is there. Also, people have suggested that we can also build other dams along the same river banks. So those, when the spillage happens, it could go into those dams. But looking at it as well, okay, common sense tells me that during dry season, we have a very harsh dry season whereby the waters in the dam is so low that it's not able even to generate the amount of or the kind of electricity that we require as a country. And this dam supplies, according to the data that I checked, supply about 70% of our energy. So reservoirs can also be built, whereby these waters, excess waters, goes into these reservoirs during the rainy season or wet seasons. We keep those rivers there. Maybe other water companies can even, or Ghana Water can even tap into these reservoirs, because we know we have parts of the country which struggles with water. And the excess which is left in there can also be utilized by VRA during dry season. It's opened up and it's pumped into the same dam. That is why I ask whether we plan to fail or we refuse to plan at all as a country. We sit back, we watch things. We are not proactive enough. We are not proactive enough. We sit back and we watch things happen over and over and over again, destroy properties, possibly life as well. And then we begin to go there and discuss or have a dialogue with the people there. It's not doable. It's not workable. It's the most expensive. Imagine this has happened in this part of the world. You will have paid the damage you would have paid, because this is not natural disaster. It's self-inflicted disaster. If I'm allowed to put it that way, a self-inflicted disaster. It's not a natural disaster. We sit back, we watch, and then we won't do anything about it. We will talk about it, and then the river dries out, and we think everything is fine, and the following year, same thing will happen again. Self-inflicted disaster, which should not be happening. The damages governments will pay in the West. We were here when there was a spillage, oil spillage in America by BP. That oil spillage, the cleanup alone nearly sent BP, which is to administration. BP nearly went bust. BP nearly went bust. We cannot sit back, watch this happening. One thing I would say is, at the moment we talk, everybody is talking about donations. We should help the people. Yes, immediately, or that is what we can do. But for the long term, I believe these people who have been badly affected, there has to be a kind of compensation for them, because in Ghana, only few people even insure their homes or houses. So I believe many of these houses in these rural areas especially are not even insured. They don't even insure in the cities. How much more these kind of areas? And hence, government will try and get away with the kind of damage that they've self-inflicted upon these people. We were here, we remember Apiache, when there was an explosion, same thing happened. Government got away with it. Up to today, the people of Apiache, we did not hear anything about it again. They haven't been compensated. The homes were just destroyed like that. It shouldn't be like that. This is the time that I believe we need lawyers who will go and support these people. Many of them are illiterates. Many of them do not have what it takes to even take their cases to court. And we need people to represent them. We need people to actually take their cases to the heart of government and to court for them to be compensated. Landowners, farmers, livestock owners, you name it, it's affected a whole lot. And the cleanup exercise after, they have to ensure there is a proper major cleanup, because apparently there are sewages, there are mortuary waters, you name it, which is all messed up and is gone into people's houses, people's bedroom. The calamity is beyond human belief. And we sat there as people. Did they even take into account that when they opened the floodgates of this dam, the water will get into health centers, mortuaries, facilities that are not pleasant, that it will end up in people's houses, people's home. You see people's mattresses, people's bed. And unfortunately, some of these people are still dragging these mattresses. That is their livelihood. That is all they have. So I don't blame them. But we can do better as a country. Good evening to you, Rasto Pedro. He says here, he said, recruitment in Canada. I'm not sure about that, but we're not here to advertise for anybody. So people, please disregard this. This happens a lot in many platforms, and then people end up being duped. We don't know this person, and then we don't know what he's advertising. So please do not pick up information you're thinking you saw it on our live broadcast, and then you follow it up. Money changes hands, and then you end up bending your fingers. Please. Good evening to you, Nana Ama. Nana Ama said good evening, sir. Good evening to you too. So to me, that is about it with regards to the Volta River spillage. And I think they can have a look at the Thames barrier, as I said, how it was done, how it was put in, and hopefully the Ghanaian government will be able to do something of that sort. Now, my most important thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to use a very limited time to do that, is what I've entitled it, or I've labeled it as crowd of witnesses. Crowd of witnesses. Producer, if you could play the first video, or I'm not sure whether we've managed to salvage the one that I couldn't send through. We've managed to pick something up somewhere. If you could play that for me, then I'll use that.
As someone who was close to him professionally, what stood out for you in his life, his legacy, and his message?
His style of leadership.
Okay.
The ethical leadership, servant leadership, his humility, his relationship with the people he worked with, his team, his love and passion for the people of Ghana, and his quest to serve the people of Ghana with all his heart, with all his strength. And the way he was unwavering and consistent in terms of his values, especially his integrity and his honesty, that despite the ups and downs of political life, his values he did not compromise on, and we could see that he actually ensured that these values were with him. He applied it. He made it very evident, and that is sometimes difficult. So, and then his deep faith in God also. And I believe all this molded in one was very remarkable and exemplary in a political leader. And he was an intellectual,
yes,
an academic, and also a politician. So that was quite unique, and that is why we're sitting here still talking about him and ensuring that his legacy lives on forever.
Yes. How about you, Dr. Osei-Owusu?
Well, I think Nana has said most of them, but I would also touch on rule of law.
The rule of law?
Yes, in governance, I think rule of law is something that you cannot undermine. And, you know, he was very consistent with making sure that everything, you know, goes by book. If you listen to the story that Professor Ahoy just told us, he made reference to the law, you know, the regulations in the school at the time, and decided that, yes, he was right. But somehow he convinced him that, look, it may not, you know, augur well, so take your time and then do it. And then so he had one bottle and later on had another one and finished the exams. So this is somebody who would go by, you know, making sure that, you know, he takes into account what the law says or what the regulations, you know, prescribes, and then move on with it. I mean, governance is something that we must be careful, because if indeed we undermine laws and rules, you know, it turns everything upside down. And Professor Moles is very particular about that. His humility was something that you can't also leave out. I mean, everywhere he went, he conducted himself to let people know that he was there to serve them. So yes, I think his legacy is something that we must keep promoting, because we want people coming into politics to know that it's important that, you know, they come with such values. And that's all we all pray for.
That's all we all pray for. How about you, Mr. Alex Egbefia?
Well, I think three things that stand out for me are his tenacity and his determination. what people don't know, and the third, obviously, is his sense of humor.
He had a sense of humor.
Fantastic sense of humor.
I see.
And even the story shows that he saw the light side of what was happening and didn't take it personal. And the moral of the story is, if you're a student, make sure you drink beer if you want to become a local government minister. So, but on a more serious note, Professor Mills epitomizes the issue of you measure a person by how he deals with setbacks. And for somebody who had always had success in the field that he was, in inverted commas, because he achieved academic brilliance at a very young age. He was 27, 28 when he got his doctorate.
Yes.
So he had always been at the top of his game. He was a reluctant vice president, and then he loses an election as a president.
Thank you, producer. That part has been played. There is a part that I was looking for, which is going to the end part. If we can get that, that would be great. But I'm going to build on something. This video that we saw is to deal with Professor Fiifi Mills of blessed memory, his memorial. And there is a book that is being released entitled All About Atta Mills. And what this book speaks about, the values, his principles, his style of government, and him as a person, how he lived his life. And it speaks so well about the late president. The most important part of everything that is being said to me was narrated on the part that I did not have on this video, and I hope I'll be able to play. Nana Oye spoke about ethical leadership. Ethical leadership. In other words, moral principles. And it's important as any leader, you ask yourself, who am I? What sort of person am I as a leader? How would you be able to carry or take yourself again as ethical leader to be seen across the things you do in government? And the late professor or the late president Atta Mills did that. He was an exemplary leader. No wonder John Dramani Mahama is so good, because he learned so much under him. He learned so much. And what I call it, the crowd of witnesses, those who have passed, our leaders who are gone, they are now what is called the crowd of witnesses, up there in heaven, looking down upon how we are governing Ghana today. So we have Nkrumah there as bunch of the or pick of the bunch. We have ex-president Rawlings there. We have ex-president Atta Mills there. We have who again? Achampong there, and others who were given the opportunity as well. And all of them are there looking down today on Ghana. And ask yourself, what would they be saying? Is that how they would have governed the country? Is that how they would have taken decisions? Is that how they would have state captured the country? Would they have done things to benefit the republic, or they would have come into power or govern, having their own kind of agenda having their own interest in mind. And this is very, very important as leader. The moral principles, the ethical leadership. Today, let's ask our leaders who are here now, if you are to die today, what will you be remembered for? Will you be remembered as an ethical leader? Will you be remembered as somebody who upholds the rule of law? Will you be remembered as somebody who is not vindictive? Because in part of the video, Asante-Mparey spoke about vindictiveness. And he said, these are some of the things which is missing from our governance today. Because ex-president Atta Mills, he wasn't a vindictive leader. And they went on to explain that when he won election, before taking over, there was a transition team. And what the transition team did was they gathered a report and realized that 100, people take note of this, 100 appointees of the NPP government in ex-president Kufuor's government were to be prosecuted. So they compiled all their information and they were ready to make a press conference to Ghanaians to tell Ghanaians what has been found on these appointees, 100 of them. There are corrupt practices for them to be prosecuted by the state. But before they could do that, the transition team had to go and give this docket or this information to the new elected president, Atta Mills, for Atta Mills to give them the go ahead. Very interesting. So they went to Atta Mills with all the information that has been compiled on this 100 appointees of ex-president Kufuor's government, various offenses. They have compiled and they have their evidence, and they believe that they can be prosecuted because this evidence was stick in court. When they took this dockets or this information and everything they've compiled to ex-president John Fiifi Atta Mills, he looked through and then he sat there for some time and he told the NDC team, the transition team, that came to him that, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to prosecute these people. Why? Because if I prosecute these people, in future, they will also prosecute NDC appointees. And then we will have what is called a vicious cycle every 4 years. And I'm going to have a look at this. I'm going to play what is called the devil's advocate. And I will say somebody will say it was a good thing he did that. But playing the devil's advocate, I will see as a bad thing, a bad decision that was taken by ex-president Atta Mills. A very bad decision. Why? Because if these people were found, 100 appointees, imagine, of ex-president Kufuor's government have been found with corrupt practices, and they had the evidence, and those evidence could stick in court, then they should have been prosecuted. Because that would have set a bar. It would have served as a precedent. It would have served as a deterrent to others who will have political appointment. Because if the NDC prosecuted these 100 appointees by ex-president Kufuor's government. And the NDC also comes to power. And they found bad apples within their government by the NPP, then so be it. Let those bad apples also be prosecuted. And that would have been the most, I would say, exemplary way of democracy. Because you come, with your, if you come and you do any corrupt practices and we have evidence of it, we will prosecute you. It's something that was said in his memorial speech. To me, it's the first time I've heard it. I've never heard this. And apparently, the NPP were singing praises that, oh, if we had done something wrong, they would have prosecuted that. But it was actually ex-president Atamils who saved them. Who saved them? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? To me, it's a bad thing. He shouldn't have saved them. He should have prosecuted all the 100 appointees. He should have put all 100 before the court and prosecute every single one of them. And that is one thing I ask from John Mahama government 2025. Election 2024, coming 2025. If NDC takes over power, there shouldn't be, we are pardoning these appointees, because in future they could also prosecute ours. Yes, let them prosecute ours if ours are also found guilty. If bad apples are also found within the NDC, let them be prosecuted. Because Ghanaians have suffered enough. Ghanaians have suffered enough because these 100 appointees got away with murder. Today, when we speak about Jan Papa Kufuor, all they speak about is praises. None of us even knew that there were 100 appointees that could have been prosecuted, and some of them could have been jailed for corrupt practices in Jan Papa Kufuor's government. None of us knew about this until this book was released. Very interesting. We really want the vindictive cycle in our political establishment or political spectrum. We need this because we cannot, there is no way in this part, which I call it the serious jurisdiction, there is no way 100 appointees will be found guilty with corrupt practices that can be arranged before court or put before court for them to get away with it. No, it doesn't matter what party you belong to, whether it's Labour, whether it's Conservative, whether it's Liberal Democrat, whether it's Green Party, whether it's the UP, whether it's a Scottish National Party. Weren't we here just about a few months ago that there was ex-leader of Scottish National Party was put before court for fraudulent fraudulent behavior? Nicola Sturgeon. She was put before court. Before him, before Nicholas was Alex Simons. Alex Simons had issue with the court so many times. That wasn't to do with fraud. It was something else. But there is no way they are going to harbor or they are going to cover up the things that you've done whilst you were in charge. Nobody will cover up for you. Another typical example is Boris Johnson. His own people, consecutives, MPs, asked him out. And after that, the independent committee that sat to look whether he misled Parliament, which majority of them were his own MPs again, consecutives, found him guilty of misleading Parliament. That was why he angrily resigned as an MP. And that is, to me, that is the only way we can govern Ghana. And that is the only way we can keep corruption out of government. That is the only way. To me, based only on that decision, ex-President Atta Mills did us more harm than good with regards to corruption on that decision. Not to prosecute the 100 appointees by ex-President Kufuor. To me, that was more harm than good to the Republic, because all of them should have been prosecuted. Every single one of them should have been prosecuted. And the transition, the man who led or who played a very important role in the transition team, who compiled all this and went to the ex-president John Fiifi Atta Mills, was the one who spoke about this. I'm not sure what our producer we've been able to capture that so we can play just that part, please. If we have just that part for our viewers to listen to just that part. They should have been prosecuted. They should have been sent to prisons. Some of them, if they have been acquitted, if the evidence doesn't stick, but every single one of them should have faced the law. And that is what we are expecting in 2024, 2025 with the new NDC administration. Every single one corrupt member of this government or appointee of this government, from people like to do with the cathedral issue, is it Kwamena Kwesi? We don't even know what his actual name is now. We don't even know what his actual, because he had two names, different date of birth, two mothers' name, two what do you call it? In Ghana, they don't call it national insurance. They have a name for it. 10 numbers. Everything was two. But same picture. Same picture. These people should be prosecuted. They have cost this country so much, and we don't want President Mama to come and pardon any of this. Let's give it to God. It doesn't matter. We are all one people. We are family. We shouldn't do this. Finding evidence, arranging people before court, allowing the court to investigate or judge them. If the court finds the evidence sticks, prosecute them as part of a rule of law, which is part of our democracy. Which is part of the democracy. We cannot choose and pick. We cannot omit that part when it comes to government appointees. In a typical example of these 100 appointees of ex-President Kufuor, every single one of them should have gone to prison. Every single one of them. Today, they are walking about. And they rather turn around and point fingers at you and say the NDC was corrupt. The NDC was corrupt. We should have prosecuted all of them. 100, imagine. And I believe many of them are in today's government as well. They are playing role. If we have been able to prosecute them, they wouldn't have been around today, even playing role in this government, because they will have gone to prison and come. And they wouldn't have been able to hold high offices. So this is a plea to President Mama. From this revelation, please, 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 we are pleading as Ghanaians that do not spare any of the political appointees, that we will have evidence that will stick. This evidence will stick in a court of law to prosecute them. Please prosecute them. And it will also serve as a deterrent for political appointees in your own government as well. Today, look at scholarship secretariat. Scholarships are being sold as if the way we sell tomatoes in the market, to the highest bidder, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. Scholarships are being sold. The evidence is there. It's been proven that some of these people who bought the scholarships have been on other platforms to confirm that they paid for these scholarships. The right-hand man of Kingsley, in charge of scholarship secretariat, he's been out there and he said he is the one who went about selling a lot of these scholarships and taking the money and giving it to this Kingsley guy. How can we run a country like this? And then we come to power and we say we're not going to prosecute these people when the evidence are so crystal clear? No, we cannot do that. If we harbor their sins, if we keep harboring their sins, they will keep committing them. And then the development that we're supposed to get as a country, that is supposed to go down to do things like Thames barrier, to regulate this kind of spillages. Today, I saw a video of our State Transport Corporation, one of our coaches, and the road is traveling on was so bad, somebody have to come out from the state transport to use a stick to dip the pothole to tell them where to go or where to drive through and where not to drive through. And we spend so much money procuring these buses. They get damaged. All the ambulances are broken. Ambulances found in Dubai. Where are those ambulances today? They said the ambulances were coming. They are still not here. These are some of the issues. And then we come in power and we let them off. No, please. No, please. Let us prosecute them. I'm not sure whether, producer, you've managed to get just that part of the video where he spoke about how they were spared and how the transition team gathered this document and the response of the ex-president of Fiifi of blessed memories. Never mind, I don't think we managed to get that video, but I'll put that video out there on our pages, so people can go and refer to those videos. People can go and watch those videos and then compare it to the narrative that I've given. To me, that to me was worrying. It's like training a child at home, and that child fall foul to the law, and you have rules and regulation, what their punishment is meant to be. I believe that punishment have to be dished out accordingly to that child. Because when you tell them that 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock you need to go to bed, you read your book, and then I said, do not touch any of your toys. And they end up touching any of their toys, or they sneak a toy under their quilt to go and play with, and they are caught. And the punishment is to take away their PlayStation, their mobile phone for a week or 2 days or 3 days. And you don't do that. They realize that, hold on, I can actually get away with it. And they will do it over and over and over and over again. That is why we have to send signal to political appointees that you cannot get away with it. Not anymore. The NDC are not going to play ball with them anymore. And that is why they are doing everything possible as well to ensure that Dr. Bawumia take over the mantle from them, so that he will then come and cover up their sins for them. If it is this country, that there is no expiry date to crime. But I know in Ghana, out of sight is out of mind. So once they are off our sight, we will forget about them and we will say it doesn't matter. But we know Bawumia is not going to win. Ghanaians, wise up. Thank you. That is my submission for today. A very quick one. I'm going to do a mini documentary or narration on the Asante-Mparey document. From next week, we will start that on Hit Africa TV. So those of you who haven't subscribed, please subscribe. What we do is on the Asante-Mparey document. Ghanaians, we forget things very quickly and very easily. We're going to read through the Asante-Mparey documents and then be able to tell you how the Asante-Mparey document today falls within the very administration, the government of Ghana, the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government today, how it was all scripted, how it was all planned, rehearsed, cooked, repackaged, packaged, and actually going to repackage for Ghanaians again. How Bawumia was actually designed or orchestrated to repackage him and use him to sidelines the Ashantis, and how Galamsey today, the Galamsey that we see that he's taking over, how they position mining companies all over to work for them on Galamseys as well, for them to enrich themselves. How today we can see Enterprise Insurance, which is the insurance of our own finance minister, Oforiata's company, who is now the #1 insurer for the government workers and what have you, how it was all planned out that Enterprise will be the heart of insurance for them to get all the wealth also from there. How it was planned with electricity, water, telecommunication, how Esla Owusu was labeled as our sister at telecommunication, doing great for us. How others were also labeled that they are liability rather than asset on working on this Asante-Mparey, which was all orchestrated for Ofori Penny throne and the Achems mafias for them to be able to rule Ghana. This is serious, and nobody should turn a blind eye to it. When that series starts, please tell a friend to tell a friend, and let's all get ourselves updated with it and remind ourselves that coming 2024 elections, we're gonna go out there and ensure that they are planned, what they've cooked, prepared to sell to Ghanaians does not come to pass by voting this NPP government out. Thank you. The name is Fiifi Asante-Mparey, as always. And once again, thank you for joining me on Hit Africa. I thank you for your time. Please keep sharing among yourself, and also the replay is very important. So if we keep sharing, other people will get to know of the program later and then replay it and listen to it and make sense out of it, take something out of it. Thank you, and God bless you all. Have a good evening.
Love, I wanna get another one. I go take and do it in love, waiting you love.